dividing rational expressions ends up turning into a multiplication problem. Anytime you're dividing rationals, what you want to do is you're going to flip the second fraction and turn it into a multiplication problem. Now, once we turn it into multiplication, we're going to simplify as much as we can. So notice this 4 can divide into that 16 4 times. I'm left with 12x squared over x cubed. Now, since both the top and the bottom have x's in common, we can cross out 2 of the x's, and we're left with just a single x in the bottom. So we've got 12 over x as the final answer. Now, number 2, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to flip the second one, turn into multiplication, but we're going to get the 8y squared up top and the 5y minus 5 in the bottom. Now, in this problem, we're going to have to factor everything we can. This first numerator we can factor out of 3. I can't do anything with the y. Can't do anything with the 8y squared. In the bottom, we're going to factor out of 5. And then we're going to reduce it. Now notice y minus 1s are the same, so we can cross those out. I'm going to rewrite what we have. We've got 24x squared up top. And we've got a 5y in the bottom. Now again, I can cancel this y in the bottom with one of the y's in the top, and we're just left with 24y over 5. So this is the final answer. Number 3, we're going to flip it over, turn it into multiplication. 35 goes up top, 4x minus 4 in the bottom. Now again, we've got to factor what we can in the numerator. So anywhere you can factor, you want to factor. Here we can factor out of 12. We're left with a 5 in the bottom. There's a 35 up top. We can factor out of 4 here. We're left with x minus 1. Now, I want you to notice something. Of course, we can cross those out and look at what happens here. This 4 can divide into this 12 3 times. This 5 can divide into this 35 7 times. What's left over is the 3 and the 7. We multiply those together and we'll get 35. Number 4, first let's flip it, and then we're going to have to factor everything. Alright, so let's finish rewriting it. So it becomes multiplication, x squared plus 2x minus 3. Okay, so the first fraction has trinomials. Luckily, these are easy to factor. The factors of 63 that add up to be 16 are 7 and 9. The bottom, the factors of 81 that add up to be 18 are 9 and 9. On this side, the factors of 63 that subtract to give me 2, x plus 9, x minus 7. And then the bottom one, we can factor out an x, and we're left with x plus 7. Now we're going to cross out every binomial that we can. Well, I can cross these x plus 9s out. I can cross out these x plus 7s. I can cross out these x plus 9s. What's left is x minus 7 up top and an x in the bottom. Now, number 5 is a little more complicated. The top, well, first let's flip it over, then we'll talk about the top. We're going to have x squared. Alright, multiplication. 12x minus 12y up top, x plus 2 in the bottom. Now, the top of the first fraction has 4 terms. This requires the grouping method. So we'll come over here, and I'll rewrite it. X squared plus 2x, minus 2x. Plus xy minus 2y. Okay, so I'm going to put the first 2 terms in a parentheses. And the second 2 terms in the second parentheses. And then we're going to factor out a GCF. Alright, on this one, they have an x in common, so we can take out the x. This one, they've got a y in common, so we factor that out, and we're left with x minus 2. And since this is grouping, since these 2 match, that's part of the answer. That's one of the binomials. The other binomial is the x plus y. So this goes in the numerator. So we'll have x minus 2, x plus y up top. The bottom is a difference of 2 squares. Now, I can factor out the 9. Let me just move here. We got 9x squared minus 9y squared. First thing we can do is factor out the 9. And then we're left with a difference of 2 squares. So we're going to have x minus y, x plus y. So over here in the bottom, we've got a 9, x minus y, x plus y. The second fraction, we can factor out a 12. We're going to get x minus y. And in the bottom, we've got an x plus 2. Now, we're going to cross out everything we can. Well, I can cross out this x plus y with this x plus y. This x minus y with this x minus y. Now, I'm going to multiply what I got left over, and we're going to try to simplify it even further. Alright, so x minus 2 times 12 up top. 9 times x plus 2 in the bottom. Now notice, I can divide the same thing into a 12 and a 9, which is 3, right? So 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 12 4 times. So we end up with 4 x minus 2 over 3 x plus 2. This is the final answer. So division is just turning it into a multiplication problem. So flip the second fraction, make it a multiplication, and then factor everything you can and cancel what you can.